All right. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of This Week Unloaded. I'm only talking to barbecue. Why bother? No, just kidding. Anyway, just kidding. Just kidding. Yeah, as usual, I am your host, Rich White, and been an eventful weekend. Uh, Starting last night, in particular, two different events that happened. Not only did we have the incident at the White House Correspondents dinner, but there was also an attempted mass killing at Indiana State, or not Indiana State, Indiana University. So we'll be talking about that. I'm pretty Let me make sure I got the right university. I'm pretty sure it was Indiana. Got the story. Yes, Indiana University. So, yeah, it's a crazy night last night. Crazy night last night. Oh, excuse me. I said what right? I don't know. Barbecue says I said something right. I don't know what. Anyway, where do we want to start? We want to start with, well, I already got the timeline from Bart, but I can't talk now. Now I can't talk. See, you say I said something right, now I'm screwing everything else up. It's your fault, barbecue. And we did have another one jump in on YouTube, but then they left again, so. Yeah. I don't know. But I do got the timeline on Breitbart's side pulled up. And then I also have a timeline from Fox. Their timelines differ a little on what parts of the story they're covering. So there's Pack Rat's Attic on the YouTube side. Evening, sir. Attempted mass killing and not a shooting. Yes. Because that's what it is. I mean, a mass shooting, it could be somebody out on a range with multiple targets shot up that they're shooting at. They're mass shooting at the targets. They're You're shooting at living beings, living human beings. That's an attempted murder, an attempted multiple killing. That is not a mass shooting. We don't call it, if somebody goes and attacks multiple people with an axe, a mass axing, do we? No, it's a mass killing. And yeah, just tired of these idiots with their, we're going to use this term even though it's not technically correct nonsense, simply because they want to demonize firearms in any way they can. And you're not going to convince me any different that that's what they're trying to do. So we had two of those types of incidents last night. Again, one at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and then another one, probably roughly the same time frame, at Indiana University. So let me share this here to the screen. This is as I said, the Breitbart timeline of events. I could do it that way, but then I have to move me. But that gives you bigger writing, I believe, if you guys want to read along. Yeah, it does. It makes the writing bigger. So we'll go with that one, and I'll just move me over here out of the way. All right, let me go up here so I can see this better. And yeah, I gotta start at the bottom with Breitbart because it doesn't have where you can invert the story, whereas Fox did, but Breitbart doesn't. So this is reporting starting with CNN. 9:03 p.m. CNN reports a shooter was killed on the scene, which we now know was not true. The attempted murderer was not killed at the scene. And he is in custody. It appears in the hotel adjoining the ballroom where the dinner took place, and they have put somebody's Twitter account there. Then at 9:05, we have a speaker took to the podium to note that the program would resume momentarily, which did not happen. More details will be shared when available. The announcement was met with muted applause. 9:11. This is chaos. An attendee told Breitbart News via phone they are barricaded in a kitchen pantry with a couple of other attendees who were away from their seats when the shooting took place. Another attendee barricaded inside the pantry could be heard saying, "Oh, F, no," when they were informed by Breitbart News the program would resume. Here we got Speaker Mike Johnson, this is at 9:13. Speaker Mike Johnson and other high-ranking officials were also taken out of the room because by this point, Donald Trump had been removed from the vicinity and was on his way back to the White House. Anyway. Packrat says he loves it. The party of peace and inclusion has been the most violent group. Yeah, you see that a lot with things that proclaim to be something of peace, don't you? Where was I? The room by security when the shooting took place, yet most of the approximately 2,500 or so attendees dining at the time were trapped in the ballroom. There you got a picture of the security officials evacuating U.S. Speaker Mike Johnson as shooter opens fire during the annual White House Correspondents Association dinner in Washington, D.C. Yeah. So there you got the Secret Service getting the Speaker of the House out of the area. And updated at 9:17, U.S. Attorney for District of D.C. for anybody that doesn't know. Yeah. Janine Pirro said the Secret Service is in charge of the hotel complex, and D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser, who she just spoke with, is on her way as is interim chief of police of the Metropolitan Police Department, Jeffrey Carroll, who will be in charge once he arrives. Why? I don't know. Why would the D.C. mayor need to be there? She would just be getting in the way at that point. We got 9:18. Fox News reports the shots were fired by Secret Service, not by a shooter, that the would-be shooter was trying to rush past magnetometer and was shot by Secret Service. Magnetometer being the metal detector, for those of you who don't know what a magnetometer is. Update 9:24 p.m. Trump commends Secret Service and law enforcement since the shooter was apprehended and that he wants to continue but will defer to law enforcement. Quite an evening in D.C. D.C. Secret Service and law enforcement did a fantastic job, wonderful job. They acted quickly and bravely. The shooter has been apprehended, and I have recommended that we let the show go on, but will entirely be guided by law enforcement. They will make a decision shortly. Regardless of that decision, the evening will be much different than planned. Sorry, much different, much different. And we'll just plain have to do it again. President Donald Trump. Now I got Ron 2A Matters out there on the YouTube side. Evening, sir. And 9:29, here's a video of Trump when the shooting occurred. At the initial pops of gunfire, it took almost 10 seconds for a security official to get to Trump, and then almost another 10 seconds before he was grabbed and taken off the stage. So, yeah. There's what that video has to show. And then this was posted by Nick Sorter on X. And 9:31, Fox News reports that Trump was never escorted away from the premises. We're told by his details someone tried to get through the mags, I guess that's metal detector, with a gun. The counter assault team did their job, unclear what that means, and the subject is now off site. POTUS was evacuated to a hold. The rest of us from the head table or down the hall from him. Secret Service had to determine if there were any other threats. We are being told there are no threats. The building is not being evacuated. We are waiting for staff to reset head table to resume the program. That's from Jackie Heinrich. And here's where, again on X. Update 9:39. Trump provides another update, says he is leaving the hotel premises and will be giving a press conference in half hour. Says the event will be rescheduled. The Melania and high-level government officials are safe, and I am not doing it in a Trump impression this time. Sorry. It says law enforcement has requested that we leave the premises consistent with protocol, which we will do immediately. I will be giving a press conference in 30 minutes from the White House press briefing room. The First Lady plus the Vice President and all cabinet members are in perfect condition. We will be speaking to you in half an hour. I have spoken with all the representatives in charge of the event, and we will be rescheduling within 30 days. President Donald J. Trump. All right. So, 9:41. The dinner is being held at the Washington Hilton, a popular venue in Washington, which is perhaps best known as the site where President Ronald Reagan was shot in 81 by John Hinckley. So this place has a history of people trying to shoot presidents there, or at least did successfully shoot one president. 9:49. Weijia Jiang, I guess how you pronounce that, CBS senior White House correspondent and member of the White House Correspondents Association, gave an update from the podium with what seemed like an ill-timed, snarky comment. I know you're already seeing the president's tweets. My apology, his post on Truth Central. Yeah, that's funny. She passed along Trump's announcement that he would hold a press briefing in 30 minutes, which garnered laughter from inside the room of reporters. This is not a joke, Zhang responded with a laugh and shake of her head. People are still locked inside closets, shaken up and scared for their lives after witnessing a would-be murderer reportedly shot dead. But, Nick Switter shared an unconfirmed photo of the shooter apprehended by Secret Service. Attendees have begun filing. So that's 9:56. Attendees have begun filing out of the ballroom. An announcer asked any members of Congress in attendance to report to the stage. Leaving an event of this type at the Hilton is a disaster in the best of times. Getting an Uber or getting to your car at this time when so many people are rattled or worse will be downright terrible. Okay, I don't know why that was put in there, but sure, whatever. Update 9:58. Karl Markowitz reports that the shooter, I'm not going to say his name, you can read it there if you want, from Torrance, California, and he is in custody. There have been conflicting reports on whether or not he was shot and killed. "10:15 p.m. Eastern. Here's a video reported to be of the alleged shooter being detained at the Washington Hilton. The James S. Brady press briefing room at the White House, named for Ronald Reagan, press secretary, shot in the head, suffering. Yeah, basically they're setting up the briefing room for Trump's press conference. I didn't feel like reading all that. "10:27, White House officials tell Breitbart that the briefing's about to begin. So there. 10:32 p.m. World leaders are beginning to weigh in on tonight's incident. Here's the Prime Minister of Pakistan, Shehbaz Sharif. Deeply shocked by a disturbing shooting incident at the White House Correspondents Association dinner in Washington, D.C. a short while ago. Relieved to know that President Trump, the First Lady, and other attendees are safe. My thoughts and prayers are with him, and I wish him continued safety and well-being." Yeah, good for you. Don't care about Pakistan. Update, 10:35 p.m. Eastern. Trump is at the podium. This was an event dedicated to freedom of speech that was supposed to bring together members of both parties with members of the press, and in some ways it did. He is joined by FBI Director Kash Patel, DHS Secretary Markwayne Mullin, and Acting AG Todd Blanche, among others. Excuse me. Trump says a Secret Service agent was shot in the chest but was wearing a bulletproof vest. He was shot from very close distance with a very powerful gun, and the vest did the job. He said, "I just spoke to the officer, and he is doing great," Trump says. So, 10:37 p.m. Trump says Washington Hilton is not a particularly secure building, having been to countless events. The reporter can attest to this. He says this is why the White House ballroom he has been working to build is so critically needed. The left is going to explode at this, but Trump is making a valid point, and he is. This is the whole reason Trump wanted that ballroom built and why it's being built, because it's going to be a much more secure site for these kinds of get-togethers than what apparently the Washington Hilton is. 10:40 p.m. Holy smokes, Trump posts a video on Truth Social of what appears to be the suspect sprinting through security before being apprehended. And that's not an actual link, so yeah. But let me see if I can get that link to work. Probably not, and I can only share one thing at a time anyway. So ain't no point. I'm not gonna bother. If you want to, you can go over to his account on Truth Central and find it there. At 10:41, Trump says the shooter appears to have been a lone shooter, but that we'll find out very quickly. God, the punctuation in this article is bad. Blanche takes the stage and said, "This investigation is ongoing. I expect you will see Charges filed shortly. The charges should be self-evident given the conduct, but as you'll hear, there will be multiple charges around the shooting, around the possession of firearms, and anything else that we can get this guy on. Yeah. Which is to be expected. You do one thing and they're going to pile as many charges on you as they can. It's standard operating procedure. 10:48 p.m. Eastern. Trump answers his first question. It's always shocking when something like this happens. Happened to me a little bit, and that never changes the fact that you're sitting right next to each other. First lady on my right, and I heard a noise. Sort of thought it was a tray. I thought it was a tray going down many times. It was pretty loud noise. It was from quite far away. He hadn't reached the area at all. They really got him, but so it was quite far away, but it was a gun. And some people really understood that pretty quickly. Other people didn't. I was watching to see what was happening. Probably should have gone down even faster. Melania was very cognizant, I think, of what happened. I think she knew immediately what happened. She was saying, that's a bad noise. And we were whisked away along with other people, but we were really whisked away. And again, the performance of the Secret Service and the police, all of the law enforcement, I thought was really good. So that's Donald Trump commenting there when asked his first question. 10:50, Trump responds to a question on why this keeps happening to him. Well, I've studied assassinations. I must tell you the most impactful people, the people that do the most. You take a look at the people, Abraham Lincoln. I mean, you go through the people that have gone through this when they got them, but the people that do the most, the people that make the biggest impact, they're the ones that they go after. They don't go after the ones that don't do much because they like it that way. And when you look at the people that have either, whether it was an attempt or successful attempt, they're very impactful people. Just take a look at the name there, the big names. And I hate to say I'm honored by that. We've taken this country and we are laughing stock for years, and now we're hottest country anywhere in the world. So hot, absolutely hot. We've changed this country, and there are a lot of people that are not happy about that. And one other thing, if you look at most attempted presidential assassinations it, in the U.S., it's been somebody from the left. So, yeah, interesting little tidbit there for you. Update 10:51. Don't forget the threats Trump faces every day. As a reminder, this is a sign outside as Trump could have come face to face with yet another would-be assassin. This is from Mario Nafal on X. News Nation Katie Pavlich to a protester sign outside the dinner. Meanwhile, outside, the dude on the right hit me with this sign. The people are actively unhinged. Yeah, you got death, somebody holding up death to a tyrant and says Virginia underneath. And then one next to him, death to all of them. Wendy Williams, who's a quote unquote journalist. And then you also see Erica Kirk, who was there being escorted out by Secret Service as she's in tears. Less than 2 years after. How about less than 1 year after? Hasn't even been 1 year. I guess less than 1 year is less than 2 years. Yeah, but anyway, you see her and being escorted out. I'm not going to play the video, but it's there. Update 10:55. See multiple concerns from attendees about the lack of security at the event, both from political figures and friends in attendance. Here's Carrie Lake's take, which echoes what I have heard and seen from others, says the reporter writing the article. And she says she can't believe how lax security was at the White House Correspondents' dinner tonight. Pun Entering, nobody asked to visibly inspect her ticket nor ask for her photo identification. All one had to do was flash what appeared to be a ticket, and they were fine with that. And yeah, the tweet does go on. I've actually read it on X itself. But, update 1059. Trump says being president is a dangerous profession and that he has come to terms with the dangers. He says it's 5.8% of presidents that are killed and about 8% are shot at. He jokes, nobody told me this was such a dangerous profession. If Secretary of State Marco Rubio would have told me, maybe I wouldn't have ran. Maybe I would have said, I'll take a pass. Trump being Trump, ladies and gentlemen. 11:16 p.m. Information beginning to flood in regarding the alleged shooter. Mario, they got his name wrong. Mario Nawful, not Mario Lawful, reports the suspect is in the White House Correspondents' Dinner shooting, has been identified as, again, I'm not going to say his name. He graduated from Caltech with an engineering degree in 2017 and earned a master's in computer science in 2025. He is currently in custody, though authorities have not yet officially confirmed his name. Trump's press conference revealed law enforcement is already at the suspect's place of residence looking for evidence, although the suspect was not named. So, yeah. And there's pictures of the jackanapes. Jackanape, actually. Singular. 11:21 p.m. An important point to consider, especially considering the complaints on security tonight. The Department of Homeland Security, which houses the Secret Service, has been left unfunded by Congress for 70 days after Senate Democrats reversed course on an agreement to fund the government. Trump has jumped through hoops to ensure as many employees as possible get paid while the department is unfunded, and he has resorted to instructing Congress to go through the timely process of budget reconciliation to fund ICE and CPB, while Democrats have refused to fund as part of strategy to ensure the entire department is funded. Gizzard Gary's out there. That will be on the YouTube side for those of you wondering. If you're not on the YouTube side. Speaking of which, see how many, take a break real quick, see how many people I got over on X. If anybody. It says I have one person on X. So, good evening to you out there. All right. Did it add Gary? Hold on. I'll be back in a second.
Hello?
Okay. Unmuted. How are you tonight?
How about them Royals?
Did you win today?
Sweep, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Swept the Angels, by golly. Came back from 6-0. Yeah, that's not the way the Angels feel right now.
Somebody's not happy that the Royals won, apparently. I don't know.
They got behind so early, and then there's about an hour and a half rain delay right in the middle of it because the game started at like 3 o'clock, like 5 hours ago.
Yeah, it sounds like the Pirate game what was it, last weekend?
I had nothing better to do. I kind of fell asleep during the rain delay and woke back up, and they were starting to play again. It's like, oh, here we go. And we
Pirates
tied it up in the bottom of the ninth with a 3-run home run and won it in the 10th on a walk-off home run. So
yeah. Pirates lost today, but they won the series with the Brewers, 2-1.
Backrat says I have mail coming. Cool. I like mail.
Uh, anyway, I'm going over the timeline that Breitbart has of the White House correspondent shooting last night, or the assassination attempt, which was a really ill-planned assassination attempt. But
Yeah, but
it's
from
all
everything I've been reading, security wasn't the greatest at that event,
yeah,
and it's not an easy venue to protect. And
yeah,
yeah, that was a recipe for disaster. I'm glad it
mm,
ended up as well as it did, but we've got to be careful. I
yeah,
mean, President Trump was right. Yes, everybody handled their jobs well, but it could have been way worse.
yeah. I don't know if you were out there when I was reading what Carrie Lake had to say, but she was saying that they were just giving a passing look at people's tickets, not even actually looking to see if they had a proper
Yeah, I
ticket or
saw.
not.
I saw some post about that on X this morning. It's like that's kind of scary.
Trying to find where I was at on the article. Here we are. We're at 11:27 p.m. Eastern Time. A mind-boggling point from Adrian Vermioli, I guess how you pronounce that. Judge Richard Leon, appointed to the D.C. District Court by George H.W. Bush, ordered construction of the ballroom project and underground security bunker blocked, writing in his order that Trump's team had not provided any national security justification for why these features must be installed immediately. Yes, this judge does not believe there is an inherent risk to the leader of the free world great enough to justify immediate construction of the joint ballroom and bunker complex.
So meanwhile, we have to seek out private venues that are practically impossible to secure,
Uh huh.
which led to this potential, well, not potential problem. It was a problem.
Yeah. Yep. Apparently, that ruling was on April 16th. And 11:29, Trump posts multiple photos on Truth Social of the suspect. 12:24 a.m. So we've hit this morning now. Breitbart News is told there were 248 tables there tonight with 10 attendees each, plus who knows how many staff, security, servers, etc. there, or etc. I have been inside this room, not me, but the reporter, many times, and there are multiple entrances on all sides, with the room designed to be easily accessible to outside restrooms and access point to the hotel and street outside. With the number of attendees, all the activity, and the layout, it's simply a security nightmare. It sounds it, as it would be inside
Mhm.
most other similarly situated hotel ballrooms. I've heard multiple similar stories as Jack relays. Jack Posobiec has something to say. Relays here with other attendees telling me that there are or were 3 checkpoints where one had to show a ticket, although it wasn't closely scrutinized in order to enter, with the final checkpoint also requiring attendees to go through a magnometer, metal detector, located directly outside of the ballroom entrance. From what the reporter was told, it was not required to show photo ID. And the story that Jack Posobiec was saying, attendee tells him no real ID checks, magnetometer 60 feet or so from ballroom doors. Protection teams didn't seem to know where their protectees were sitting. Place was so packed and with people on ground taking cover, took protection teams a while to get to their protectees. So that's always good. Update at 12:28 a.m. ABC reports the suspect is believed to have booked a room in the hotel in early April and is refusing to answer questions, but allegedly has made unspecific reference to targeting administration officials. If he just booked his room this month, he got lucky.
Yeah.
Because somebody was saying on a post on X that this guy had to have posted in advance. A reporter was posting this. He's like, had to had planned this out well in advance and booked his room well in advance, because from that reporter's experience, if you wait until April to get a room, you're not going to find one for this. Apparently, he got very lucky if he found a hotel room in early April, particularly the hotel that the event was happening in. Update 12:31 a.m. Fox Los Angeles shares video reportedly outside of the California home of suspect. Law enforcement wasted little time arriving at the scene. Yeah, apparently they had the LA division of the FBI on scene like super quick. 11:12 a.m. Oh, that's where I'm at. Okay. 11:12 a.m. Fox News reports the suspect had written a manifesto and that his brother had notified police before the attack to express concerns. The suspect attended a No Kings protest. Yet there's another report. It might have been on Fox's timeline where his sister also turned in the manifesto. He sent the manifesto to multiple members of his family. Jackie Heinrich. New info on the shooting suspect from the White House. We'll be talking to President Trump about it in 30 minutes. So, yeah, clearly stated he wanted to target administration officials, but I'm not going to go and click that because I don't want to screw everything up. 11:14 a.m. Trump calls in to the Sunday brief on Fox News to praise the Secret Service and call for Democrats to act to fund the Secret Service. He said, I thought they were outstanding, he said, of law enforcement. You can always take a nitpick and everything else, but they were outstanding. They stopped them cold, and there was no games being played that he can tell you, and you could just look at them. They were strong, solid people who got to get paid. This is a group that is not being paid. You think about it, the Democrats are holding up their pay, and I think maybe they'll loosen up a little bit now, because I thought great talent was displayed last night. Bravery, but talent. God, I'm trying not to do a Trump impression. I keep finding myself, by the time I get done reading his comments, starting to do a Trump impression. 11:34 a.m. Democrat Senator John Fetterman called last night to drop the TDS, Trump derangement syndrome, and build the White House ballroom. It's very interesting that Fetterman equates opposition to the ballroom to Trump derangement syndrome. Well, he's right. The Democrats are going to oppose everything that Trump wants to do just because it's Trump. We've seen it on numerous things, and this is just another one. 11:51 a.m. Trump shared some interesting information on the suspect, suggesting his hatred of Christianity played into motives. Yeah, because that's in his manifesto. The guy is a sick guy, Trump said. When you read his manifesto, he hates Christians. That's one thing for sure. He hates Christians, the hatred. And I think his sister or his brother actually was complaining about it. They were even complaining to law enforcement. So he was a very troubled guy. Yeah. He hated Christians, hated conservatives. There was a couple other things. I forget what they were now. I'm sure we'll get into that at some point. Update 11:58. Trump went even further later in the interview in asserting the suspect was motivated by anti-Christian bias, saying it was a religious thing. It was strongly anti-Christian, and that he had been planning the attack for a while. Well, they have some pretty good information. Trump said he had a lot of hatred in his heart for quite a while, and it was a religious thing. It was strongly anti-Christian, and I don't know if you've gotten it. Just got released the manifesto. He's got a manifesto. You can believe it. Excuse me, I need to get a drink. All right.
That's what I did. I left my water in the other room. I've been in the living room all day. Sorry, I had to move everything back in here.
Update 12:54 p.m. So now we're at just or before 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Senator Rick Scott, Republican Florida, called for the Senate to put a full Department of Homeland Security funding bill on the floor this week. The department, which includes the Secret Service, has now gone over 70 days without being funded by Congress after Democrats went back on a bipartisan agreement to fund it. And here, I think this is where the Breitbart article ends. 1:03 p.m. Eastern time, rather. The RNC blames the third attempt on Trump's life. Actually, I believe this is the fourth, maybe fifth, on radicalized left, and calls on Democrats to fund the Department of Homeland Security. Last night's attempted assassination of President Trump and members of his administration is the inevitable result of radicalized left that has normalized political violence, said RNC Chairman Joe Gruters. Democrats can issue all the holy calls for unity they want, but their actions tell the truth. They repeatedly blocked funding for DHS and the very law enforcement agencies tasked with protecting Americans. You cannot inflame division, undermine public safety, and then pretend to stand for peace. Until Democrats fully fund our security, their words are worthless. Yeah, that's the end of the Breitbart article. Again, I went in backwards order because they start with the newest, and unlike on Fox, couldn't invert it to have the timeline start in the proper order to where you would read down it. Yeah, so that's what Breitbart had to say on the matter. Yeah, we've got Moo out there on the YouTube side. So, evening, Moo. Oh, any thoughts on that so far?
Nah, more will come out later, I'm sure.
Yep. So, let me come back over here. I can stop sharing. Oh, darn it, it wasn't sharing. Damn it. Oh, now it's sharing. Now I can stop sharing. I forgot this one. I got to manually add it in like you do on StreamYard.
Did you know while you're doing that, in the American League, other than the Yankees and the Rays, everyone else is within 4 games of each other?
Ooh, speaking of the American League, did you see where Boston fired their entire coaching staff,
Yes,
including the
they
manager,
did.
yesterday?
Alex
Oh,
Cora, yeah. I
yeah.
don't know what's up with that, man.
They had just
Everybody's kind of baffled about that.
they had just beat the living hell out of Baltimore too. What was it, 17-1?
Somebody must have pissed somebody off.
Yeah,
Is all I could figure. Because they were talking about it on the Royals telecast today, and they were kind of baffled. It's like that's the last thing they expected.
yeah. They were talking about it on the Pirates radio broadcast because I was listening to the game. I didn't watch. I just listened to it while I was playing Star Trek Online earlier, and they were talking about it on air. No, everybody around the league is just like baffled at that decision last night. You know, bring up the Fox News timeline because theirs is has a little bit more information, different information. It starts at where the authorities have identified the shooter or suspect, however you want to refer to him. who breached security at Washington Hilton, wounding a Secret Service agent before being tackled. And yeah, and the FBI has secured the suspect's home in Torrance, California. Okay, yeah, I am at the top of the page. That's why it didn't look right. 2 hours ago. Damn it! Did it? It did. It reinverted itself. God damn it! I had it set to show oldest first. Somehow, between doing that and sharing it, switched it back again. Okay, this is a pinned comment, so I can't. That one's not going to move. But Trump blasts Nora O'Donnell to her face during 60 Minutes interview. You're a disgrace. He doesn't get along with the people on 60 Minutes very well.
Well, you blame him?
Oh no, I don't blame him at all.
He just says what the rest of us are feeling.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a lot of the stuff he says is crazy, but that's not crazy.
No. President Donald Trump blasted 60 Minutes host Nora O'Donnell to her face after she read a portion of the alleged White House Correspondents' Dinner gunman's manifesto. O'Donnell quoted directly from the suspect's manifesto, reading a section that appears to refer to the president or his administration officials as pedophiles, rapists, and traitors. She then asked for the president's reaction. Now, what do we know about this pedophiles, rapists, and traitors thing? I do believe we've heard numerous members of a certain side in Congress making these comments about the president, have we not?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Trump goes on, I was waiting for you to read that because I knew you would. You're a horrible person, Trump told O'Donnell. You read that crap from some sick person. I got associated with all that stuff that has nothing to do with me, he continued, adding he was exonerated. Yeah, not only was Trump exonerated, but he was proven to be the guy that blew the whistle on Epstein to begin with. Trump then
Yeah, but
took direct.
they leave that part out, though.
Yes, they do. Trump then took direct aim at the host. I'm not any of those things, he said. You should be ashamed of yourself reading that. You shouldn't be reading that on 60 Minutes. You're a disgrace, but go ahead. Let's finish the interview. 14 hours ago, FBI secures alleged home of suspect in WHCD shooting, search warrant pending. Yeah, the suspected home of the man accused in the White House Correspondents' Dinner shooting has been secured by the FBI and local law enforcement. Fox News has learned the suspect was identified, according to law enforcement briefing to Fox News Digital. A federal judge in the Central District of California is expected to sign a search warrant, the U.S. Attorney's Office told Fox News. Once the warrant is approved, the FBI will be able to search the suspect's home. Obtaining the warrant could take several hours. Wake the son of a bitch up. What you used to do in the old days. You used to go and wake the judge up. Judge, we need this sign.
You got to find them first.
In California, who knows where the hell to look? 14 hours ago,
Oh,
UAE. Oh, God, you're going to say something?
I'm going to say, hopefully he wasn't watching the Angels game because he's probably having a drink right now somewhere.
Mm. Well, this would have been earlier this morning.
Oh, okay.
But again, California, you never know.
Well, that's true.
14 hours ago, UAE condemns heinous attack at White House Correspondents' Dinner, pledges solidarity with U.S. That's a second Arab country, or Muslim country, because Pakistan's not Arab.
Have you seen the liberals on X that have been posting, wish somebody was a little bit better with their assassination
Oh
attempt and stuff like that.
yeah, some of
Like,
them have been teachers, which
oh yeah,
which is interesting since this guy was a teacher, and there was an attempted mass killing a couple, yesterday or day before, maybe it might have been Friday, sometime this week, where a transsexual 19-year-old substitute teacher went into and attempted to engage in a mass killing at the school that he worked at. Now, how does a 19-year-old get to be a substitute teacher?
that's a good question.
Because last I checked, you had to have at least a 4-year degree to be a teacher.
I mean, intern maybe, but you wouldn't be teaching a class by yourself typically. So.
No, you wouldn't be a
And
substitute.
definitely,
You'd
you
be
wouldn't be interning as a freshman either. So
no,
typically, as a senior.
yeah, junior and senior. Because we had, when I was in high school, we had a couple of my classes that where there was a student teacher that was there, but they were working beside the and they were both much older than
Well,
19.
we had a program with the local university over in Emporia where they would send over seniors as interns. And we'd employ them and stuff. So we usually always had one or two student teachers.
Yeah,
They were fun.
we always had student teachers in high school
Yeah.
at various levels that were students at University of Pittsburgh or Carnegie Mellon or Robert Morris or Duquesne. Those were the four main colleges in the city itself, and so we had student teachers from those uh, universities.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, but this part of the article goes on to go on about how the United Arab Emirates has condemned the shooting. Well, that's nice. Now, the UAE is actually one of the better Arab countries. They've been standing alongside the U.S. in the Iran war and a few other, and they have recognized Israel's right to exist and all that good stuff. So UAE is actually one of the good countries over there, if you want to call any of them a good country. But if there are any, then UAE is one of them. Give the UAE their due on that front. Oh, jeez, it just skipped all the way back to the top again and reset itself. Did it just do it again?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
I
did
think
it?
or did it? Maybe not.
No.
No, it flashed, so it looked like it did again. 14 hours ago, online posts crisscrossed the globe to shape anti-American propaganda after Washington Hilton shooting. Within minutes of reports that shots have been fired at the Washington Hilton Hotel during the White House Correspondents' Dinner, adversarial voices began seeding anti-American narratives across messaging channels, crisscrossing the globe. Gee, who'd have thunk it? At 9:10 p.m., members of the anti-American Telegram channel called Resistance Trench quickly started swapping their spin on the narrative. One user posting support for the shooting saying, "Let's goo." Civil War time. I don't know if that was the reporter who misspelt that or if that was actually the way it was written.
I'm guessing. I'm guessing the reporter misspelled it because it's got SIC on there. So
Well, you can put that in there for the quote being misspelt too.
right, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
No, I mean not the reporter misspelling. I mean the person who actually wrote it that they're quoting.
Right. Right. Right.
Okay. The next minute, another user responded, "Maybe first shots of the revolution." The first user quickly escalated, "I think Yeah, I got a feeling that that first user is not very good at spelling. I think where witnessing the beginning of the American Civil War, to be frankly honest, they might blame it on Iran, spelt wrong because it should be a capital Y. But it's obvious all the shooting and attack. There should be an SIC after that as well because that should be attacks and spelled America wrong, is leading towards civil war. Yeah, whoever that first user is, you need to go back to school because you need if you've graduated because you would never should never have passed an English class at this point.
Obviously, these aren't English majors.
No. The rapid cascade of posts, blending speculation, mockery, and preemptive geopolitical framing, illustrates how moments of domestic crisis are quickly weaponized in modern information environment, where loosely networked actors and ideological adversaries race to define the narrative before facts are established, often amplifying themes of instability, distrust, and the inevitability of conflict and quote unquote civil war in the United States. Others on the Telegram channel mocked the unfolding situation in real time. Are they dead ass carrying him? One user asked of the Secret Service scurrying President Donald Trump out of the room. No, they would have just been guarding his body with their own as they're, basically shielding him as they're getting him out of the building as fast as they can by encouraging him to move faster. Another dismissed the incident on the stage. Let's see who they blame this on. This fake soap opera. Another
If
one
they
who,
had to, they would literally carry him out of there. Yes, they would.
yes, they would. If they felt the need to, they would. You'd get one
If
guy
he's
under
not
each
moving
shoulder, and
fast enough, they'd move him faster. Yes.
yep, they would basically put his arms around their necks, and each of them grab a leg, lift, and run.
Yep.
Seen it happen. Seen it happen. The speculation quickly turned geopolitical to anti-Israel rhetoric, with a user declaring within hours, accept Zionist accusations that Iran is behind the shooting. Well, they've been behind two other attempts, so we don't know yet.
See, if it had been Joe Biden, they'd have to not only protect him, but make sure he goes out the right door because God only knows which one Joe would have went
Mm,
out of.
yeah, make sure he doesn't drop his ice cream.
That's right. Or shake their hand
Mm, I gotta shake his hand.
again. Did I
You want to
shake your
go
hand?
outside? You want to take a shot at me? Let's go outside. Some posts veered callously into ridicule and derision. One user claimed Erica Kirk was crying leaving the scene with a laughing emoji, while another jeered at the evacuating bunch of effing cowards using the full expletive. Yeah, that's another thing that's driving me nuts over this is Erica Kirk, who had just less than a year ago watched her husband be assassinated, has this happen at an event she was at, and people were giving her a hard time because she lost her shit and was crying her eyes out. The woman was scared senseless. I mean,
People need to leave Erica Kirk the hell alone.
yes, they do.
Candace Owens.
Mm. Oh, I'm waiting for the lawsuit to get filed because you know it's coming. I got a feeling they're waiting till after they see what happens with the Macrons because statute of limitations in a case like this isn't going anywhere when it's ongoing.
No.
By 9:34 p.m., still another mocked the situation, joking the shooters, another SIC shirt will have the words "straight out of Hormuz" written on them. No, so this person literally thinks there was more than one shooter apparently. Since either that or the guy was wearing more than one T-shirt according to the person. Take Take your pick. Leftists in the U.S. quickly shared video footage of the chaos, including a live stream of self-declared Marxist influencer Hassan Piker, wide-eyed and open-mouthed, shouting, "Shots fired! What the F's?" Saying the full expletive. And he's another piece of shit that needs to shut up. He's been getting quoted a lot on X today for saying inappropriate things after last night. I don't know if you saw that or not.
No.
Yeah, Hassan Piker is a real piece of work. 13 hours ago, Starmer, that'll be UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, says huge relief, Trump, others safe after shots fired at WHCD. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer denounced the shooting at the White House Correspondents' Dinner in Washington, expressing relief that President Donald Trump, First Lady Melania Trump, and other senior officials were all safe. He says in a tweet that he is shocked by the scenes at the White House Correspondents' Dinner in Washington overnight. Any attack on democratic institutions or on the freedom of the press must be condemned in the strongest possible terms. This is a guy who has locked up Tommy Robinson, an independent journalist, multiple times, and he's saying that freedom of the press attacks against freedom of the press must be condemned. He's a prime suspect in making attacks on the freedom of the press. Hypocrisy knows no bounds with this guy, I swear. Starmer's message comes amid his icy relationship with Trump over the United States' ongoing war with Iran. 13 hours ago, Italy's Meloni reaffirms solidarity with Trump and Vance, slams poison of political fanaticism. Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni called the shooting at the White House Correspondents' Dinner an attack on open political discourse, reaffirming her unity with President Donald Trump and other administration leaders. I wish to express my full solidarity and most sincere closeness to President Trump, to First Lady Melania, to Vice President Vance, and to all those present for what happened at last night's White House Correspondents' Dinner, Melania wrote in Italian on X. So since I don't speak Italian, I'm going to go with what that person said and assume that they were telling the truth.
Well, you could do a Google Translate on it. It should be easy enough to do.
Yeah, I could do this. Let's see. Translate. Yeah. Yep, that's what she said.
I'm sure whoever quoted her probably did that. So
Yeah.
it's too easy to do anymore. It's
Mm-hmm.
not 100% accurate, but it's pretty close.
13 hours ago, shooting at White House Correspondents Association dinner venue brings new attention to Trump's White House ballroom. Yeah, we already went over all that with Breitbart's coverage. But yeah, basically says the same bunch of the same stuff. The 90,000 square foot ballroom would accommodate roughly 650 guests, which wouldn't have been big enough. I don't know if if I'm remembering the math right. They said they had 250 tables, I think, with each one holding 10 people. Were you in
There's a
here
lot
when?
more. There's a lot more to this ballroom than
Yeah.
they're letting out. There's a whole basement complex
Oh
underneath it.
yeah. Yeah, it's a bunk.
It's
It's got a
gonna,
bunker. Yeah.
yeah, it's gonna provide a lot of stuff we don't have now. So
Yeah. But I'm saying, as far as the number of guests, they do this in the ballroom, it's gonna be a lot smaller than what this one would have been.
just just have to you know whittle down the guest list a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it completely eliminates the East Wing. Yeah, people are throwing a fit about that, but if you look at history, this isn't the first time a major addition or subtraction from the White House has been done throughout its history.
Gosh, did they have a fit when Truman basically had the White House gutted and rebuilt in the 50s? I mean, come on. It was an old building and it needed
Yeah.
fixed. You got to
Yeah.
add things, fix things every once in a
hmm
while.
Obama had the one section gutted and turned into a basketball court. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
it's amazing because although the White House has long hosted major events, it has never had a ballroom. You would think that that would have been something they would have done, from the start, possibly had its own ballroom. But yeah, it's never had one.
Well, I think at the time it was conceived and built, they wanted it to not appear to be that much of a mansion because it was supposed to be the people's house and stuff like that. So it was minimalized somewhat so it wouldn't appear that it was a big compound or something, which it is a big compound, let's be real
Mm-hmm.
anymore, especially given the state of the world nowadays. You just can't live
Yeah,
like that anymore.
yeah. And what you see on the surface is only scratching the surface.
Oh,
The White
yeah.
House is like an iceberg. There's a lot more underground that you don't see. Just like with an iceberg, there's a lot more under that water line that you don't see.
And tunnels leading everywhere.
Mm-hmm. 12 hours ago, former Trump aide described security at Washington Hilton Hotel before shooting. Former aide to President Donald Trump attending the White House Correspondents' Dinner told Fox and Friends that he noticed the hotel hosting the event was lacking security buffers at certain points. Harrison Fields, a former White House principal deputy press secretary, said there are no checkpoints to get into the hotel, adding that the gunman could have been roaming and watching those in attendance at the Washington Hilton Hotel. There was a VIP reception right off the main ballroom where cabinet secretaries were, where the president could have been, and there was no security apparatus leading to that point, Field said. We have to agree that the Secret Service and local law enforcement took immediate steps to keep us safe, but was no real buffer, and that was one of the immediate feelings I felt as soon as I walked into the hotel, he continued. The Hilton Hotel has hosted the dinner for years and usually remains open to regular guests during the event. Security has typically been focused on the ballroom rather than the hotel at large, which little screening for people not entering the dinner itself. That security framework has created openings for disruptions in the lobby and other public spaces, including protests in which security moved to remove guests who unfurled banners or staged demonstrations. In 1981, President Ronald Reagan was shot by John Hinckley Jr. outside the Hilton, an event that prompted redesigns of the property to increase security and added a special presidential suite near the entrance where chief executives could be taken. Trump was whisked away there briefly after the shots were fired Saturday night. 12 hours ago, Trump calls to immediately drop legal challenges to White House ballroom after WHCD shooting. Need to get another drink. Hold on.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I didn't go anywhere. I just had to take a drink. But yeah, you
Rob
see the
D is out
construction.
there, by the way.
No, evening, Rob. Yeah, basically, the same thing we read over on Breitbart. President Trump called for the legal challenges to the proposed White House ballroom to immediately drop, arguing the shooting at the White House Correspondents' Dinner highlights longstanding security concerns with hosting large, high-profile events outside White House grounds. Yeah. The suspect told law enforcement he planned to shoot Trump administration officials. The White House Correspondents' Dinner shooting suspect told law enforcement after his arrest Saturday night that he was targeting Trump administration officials. Senior federal law enforcement sources with knowledge of the investigation told Fox News. He said he planned to shoot Trump administration officials, the sources said. Authorities have said He rushed a Secret Service checkpoint at the event at the Washington Hilton Hotel while armed with multiple weapons. He then opened fire, striking a Secret Service officer in his ballistic vest. And agents fired back at him, whom he was not struck. Both the Secret Service officer and he were taken to the hospital. If he wasn't struck, why was he taken to the hospital? The FBI and
I
local law
think he
enforcement.
was tackled fairly roughly, from what I understand.
He could be treated in the jail. The FBI and local law enforcement secured the suspect's home in Torrance, California overnight, Fox News previously learned. A federal judge in the Central District of California is expected to sign the search warrant, yada yada. Read all that over on Breitbart. White House correspondents during a shooting, suspect appeared to travel to D.C. by train. Acting AG Todd Blanche, I think I'm pronouncing it. Is that right? Blanche?
Let me look. Let's see. Where's it at now? Oh, yeah,
What the
yeah,
heck? Where'd it go?
I saw it.
What happened?
It jumped,
Yeah, no kidding.
refreshed, or something.
Now I gotta go all the way back to the top of the page again. Reset the damn thing.
StreamYard doesn't do that.
It's not StreamYard. It's Fox News. I was watching another channel stream earlier where they were reading from Fox News, and they kept doing that to them. Something with Fox News lately. This is where I was at, and I gotta find the. Okay, plan to shoot the source. Authorities have said Russian Secret Service. Yeah. Okay, yeah, here was at the bottom. You expect to sign a search warrant. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, here we are. I was at the train. There's the name. So Blanche. I think that's how it's pronounced. Investigators have learned how the White House correspondent dinner shooting suspect may have traveled across the country from California to Washington, D.C. Acting U.S. Attorney General Todd Blanche told Fox News Sunday. What they've learned just overnight is that it appeared he traveled from Los Angeles through Chicago to Washington, D.C., and it appears that he traveled by train during both legs of that trip, Blanche said. The investigation is rapidly developing, and I expect by the time formal charges are filed, which will likely be tomorrow morning, we'll have a better sense of what happened. So he'll be charged tomorrow morning because this was earlier today. Blanche also told NBC's Meet the Press that investigators believe the suspect was targeting Trump administration officials. We believe that he was targeting administration officials in this attempted attack, but that's again quite preliminary as law enforcement continues to go through all the evidence, Blanche said. Authorities have identified the shooting suspect, and again, I'm not going to read his name. If you want to know what it is, you can read it right there, but I'm not going to say it. The FBI and local law enforcement were seen overnight securing a street in Torrance, California, where the suspect's home is believed to be located. White House shares new details about suspect, his alleged manifesto. And there he is, face down on the carpet. The White House on Sunday shared new details about the shooter, the White House correspondent dinner shooting suspect, and what his family members have told investigators since the incident. Allen's brother had notified New London Police Department in Connecticut that Allen had sent family members an alleged before the shoot, an alleged what? Man, it's a manifesto, but they could have done a better job there. Before the shooting at the Washington Hilton Hotel, the White House said. The alleged written manifesto clearly stated he wanted to target administration officials, according to the White House. And he also had anti-Trump and anti-Christian rhetoric on his social media accounts. Yes, he did, because I have seen excerpts from his Blue Sky account. Imagine that. The shooter had a Blue Sky account.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm. President Donald Trump told Fox News the Sunday briefing that the alleged manifesto shows he hates Christians. The guy's a sick guy, Trump said. When you read his manifesto, he hates Christians. That's one thing for sure. He hates Christians, a hatred. And I think his sister or brother actually was complaining about it. You know, they were even complaining to law enforcement. So he was a very troubled guy. Alan's sister, oops, I spelled his last name. Oh well. Avriana Allen told Secret Service and Montgomery County Police during an interview at her home in Rockville, Maryland, that her brother has made radical statements and used rhetoric that constantly reference a plan to do something to fix the issue with today's world, according to the White House. She also confirmed that he purchased 2 handguns and a shotgun from Cap Tactical Firearms and kept them stored at their parents' home, noting that their parents were unaware of the weapons being kept at their home. She said that her brother would regularly go to the shooting range to train with his firearms, adding that he was a member of a group called the Wide Awakes and that he had attended a No Kings protest in California at some point. Imagine that. He's a member of a leftist radical group.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm. Trump says he hopes to hold the White House Correspondents' Dinner soon. Can't let these criminals change the course of events. No, you can't, because that's what they want you to do. That's the whole point. I mean, let's call it what it is. It's domestic terrorism, and the whole point of domestic terrorism is the threat of or use of violence in order to gain a desired political or religious outcome. President Donald Trump on Sunday said the White House Correspondents' Dinner will be rescheduled, declaring that really bad people like the gunman who forced its cancellation can't be allowed to change the course of events in our country. Trump provided details about when the dinner may happen to Fox News senior White House correspondent Jackie Heinrich during the Sunday briefing. Now, I hope that we can have it within a short period of time, whether it's 30 days or a little less, a little more, Trump said. But I hope we can do it with that because we can't let these criminals and these really bad people change the course of events in our country. We had a record crowd last night, he continued, and you and the people that put it on did a fantastic job, really. But that's all of these people would have to leave. You know, it's just for what? For one nut? The guy that is really, I mean, look, he's a very disturbed person. When asked for how long the suspected shooter may have been planning the attack, Trump said the suspect shooter had a lot of hatred in his heart for quite a while and described him as strongly anti Christian. That family knew that he had difficulty, and his family seemed to be, I think, they spent a lot of time with his family. His family said he had big difficulty, Trump said. Maybe they should have reported him a little bit more strongly, probably, but it's a hard thing to do, I guess. It is. I mean, if they thought he was just a nut, do you take him seriously? When he tells you he might do something like this, when he mails you a manifesto, do you take him seriously? Considering,
Probably should.
no, well, I was going to say, considering the amount of violence that we've seen lately, and apparently the brother did report it when he got it. So was that a case of law enforcement in Connecticut dropping the ball?
Probably.
Mhm. Again, we saw this over on Breitbart. Fetterman demands Trump critics drop the TDS, support construction of White House ballroom. I am still waiting for this guy to just leave the Democratic Party at this point. Seriously, I am.
Hmm.
Has been the one reasonable Democrat through all this nonsense that's been going on. He's been calling for the Democrats to stop the defunding of DHS and a bunch of other stuff. I mean, he's the one reasonable guy. And remember, he's the guy that when he ran, everybody was like, is he going to be able to do anything because of his strokes and everything? But since he's been recovering, he's been going more and more towards the center. Not reading all that because we read all that over on Breitbart. Basically the same stuff. Security under scrutiny as WHCD attendants cite inconsistent screening before shooting. So, got somebody else that was reporting this as well here. Misha Kamendowski, a journalist for Germany's DW, said a paper ticket was the only thing required to access the ballroom, adding there was no screening before entering the lobby. So yeah, apparently the screening process was not the greatest. That's what, like the fifth person now that we've read a comment from saying that about how easy it was to get in.
Mm-hmm.
ABC News reporter Beatrice Peterson, a longtime attendee, said security appeared consistent with past years, but Rep. Mike Lawler, Republican New York, described glaring security issues, citing no photo ID checks, no magnetometers, and multiple pre-event receptions with limited screening. Now, that the no magnetometer does clash with the other reports, which said there was one that was right before you went into the ballroom itself, but not covering the area immediately before entering the ballroom, where a lot of people were standing around talking and stuff before going in. So that is a problem. You would
Yeah.
think they would have, if that area is where they were going to be meeting and greeting everybody before going into the ballroom, you would think they would have had better screening for that area. But not knowing the layout of the hotel, it's hard to tell if they would be able to do that or not. Without restricting access to the rest of the hotel, like the front desk and whatnot. White House Correspondents Association released statement after harrowing shooting. White House Correspondents Association said its board will meet to assess the shooting that unfolded at White House Correspondents' Dinner and determine how to move forward. White House Correspondents, WHCA President Weijia Jiang said in a statement that the shooting at the Washington Hilton Hotel was a harrowing moment for everyone in attendance. That's why you were making jokes right after, according to Breitbart. We express our deepest gratitude to the U.S. Secret Service and all law enforcement personnel who ensured the safety of everyone in the ballroom and beyond, the statement said. Their actions protected thousands of guests, and we wish a full and speedy recovery to the officer who was injured in the line of duty. We are grateful everyone in attendance was unharmed, including the president, first lady, and the vice president. By the way, the Secret Service officer that was hit was, according to reports I've seen, checked out and released with no major injuries. So that's good. And she goes on, our dinner exists to celebrate the First Amendment and the hard daily work of the journalists who defend it. Continued. Last night, those journalists showed exactly the kind of calm and courage that work demands, jumping into reporting immediately after the incident unfolded. We are proud of everyone in that room. Zhang said the WHCA will provide updates as soon as any are available. 7 hours ago, we got the floor plan inside the Washington Hilton tracing the gunman's path. Washington Hilton is a sprawling venue with 47 meeting rooms, more than 1,100 guest rooms, and over 118,000 square feet of event space. An interconnected layout where movement is constant and security is especially complex during high-profile events like the Washington Correspondents' Dinner. This diagram traces the suspect's path across the Hilton's terrace level from a security checkpoint to where he was tackled, showing how quickly a threat can move through this space. Okay, where are we at? Here's the foyer. Here's the stairs. So yeah, they could have easily had better security at these doorways. Apparently, the only magnetometer was somewhere in this area, I would guess, or up the stairs. But if this is where he was at, yeah, upstairs. If the ballroom is upstairs or downstairs, they may not have heard the shots and realized that they were shots right away. Like Trump said in his statement, he thought somebody had dropped a tray or something until the security came over and told him what was going on. So yeah, but they could have had slightly better security. Could have put metal detectors at these areas potentially, and even set up here so that the guests could come around this way and get to the elevators, and just have this cordon off right here with metal detectors and then metal detectors on these doors. So there are ways that they could have had security slightly better. I'm sure we've all been to events where we've seen where they had temporary metal detectors set up. Authorities said the suspect carried multiple weapons into the hotel, underscoring the severity of the breach and leaving agents only seconds to respond and secure critical access points. That urgency became clear just after 8:30 p.m. when gunfire erupted on the hotel's terrace level, one floor below the hotel lobby and one floor above the International Ballroom. So this happened in a floor that's between the main floor and the ballroom, where guests were already seated for the evening program. Within seconds, President Donald Trump was rushed from the stage as attendees took cover and security agents moved members of his cabinet out of the room. By 9:45 p.m., he had left the hotel, arriving back at the White House just before 10 p.m., where he later briefed the press. So, yeah, they're basically people don't need to be on this level. They could have secured this whole entire level and shut all this off without disrupting anybody at the rest of the hotel if this was not the main floor. If the main lobby was on the floor above. So yeah, they could have had better security. They definitely could have. Suspect's family contacted police after WHCD shootings, FBI clarifies. So apparently they said they contacted him before and now after. The family of the suspected gunman who allegedly opened fire outside the White House Correspondents' Dinner on Saturday alerted law enforcement after the incident took place. The FBI clarified to Fox News Digital on Sunday. The brother notified the New London police in Connecticut that the suspect had sent family members an alleged manifesto prior to the shooting at the Washington Hilton, according to the White House. The document reportedly laid out plans to target administration officials, the White House said. President Donald Trump added that it also allegedly indicated that suspect harbored hatred towards Christians. In addition, his sister told Secret Service and Montgomery County police that her brother had made radical statements in the past and constantly referenced the plan to do something to fix what he called issues with society, officials said. NASA confirms once interned at Jet Propulsion Laboratory, or laboratory, however you want to pronounce it. Michael Siegel, spokesman for NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, confirmed to Fox News Digital on Sunday that the alleged gunman who opened fire outside the White House Correspondents' Center, I guess you could call it outside, more above, because it's the floor above. Yeah, anyway. On Saturday, worked at the high security facility in 2014 when he was an undergraduate student at Caltech. According to his LinkedIn profile, he was a summer undergraduate research fellow. NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory unequivocally denounces violence and extends our condolences and support to all those impacted by this incident, Siegel said. We can confirm that the suspect interned at JPL for approximately 3 months in 2014. We do not have details from the investigation to confirm that the suspect and Caltech undergraduate alumnus are the same person, he added. Fox News Digital has verified the suspect and the former Caltech student are the same person. King Charles U.S. trip will proceed as planned. Yay. And the people stand and cheer. Yay. Does anybody care?
No.
No. No. So I'm not even going to read all that because I don't care. Justice Department warns ballroom lawsuit endangers Trump, threatens to move to dismiss case. And it screwed up again. So, you know what? Screw it. I'm not going through all that again. We get the gist of it. There's a lot of stuff going on because of this. So, any thoughts?
No. What else
I
is there to say?
don't know.
Crazy people.
Yeah, see what anybody out there on YouTube said. Barbecue says, unbelievably, he is kind of like Mansion 2.0, talking about Fetterman. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Or who was the one from Arizona? Cinema or something like that. Yeah,
Mm.
she switched parties about the same time that Mansion did. Denny was out there, so well, evening, Denny, and have a good night.
Good night, Danny.
Got Vulcan Rumble out there also on the YouTube side. Who came in while I was doing all that reading. Yeah, Fox needs to fix their goddamn website. Like I said, I was watching a sports channel that I'm sub to on YouTube, and they're going through an article that Fox Sports had on, and it was doing the exact same thing to them. It kept going. It would like flash like it was, and then be right back at the top of the page again. Yeah. And then, oh yeah, got one more. Well, this was going on at the White House. This was going on at Indiana University. Mass shooting or attempted mass killing near Indiana University injures 9. No arrest made yet. This is as of 8:55 a.m. this morning. I couldn't find any updated stories on it. 9 people were injured in an attempted mass killing near Indiana University early Sunday morning. Police responded to reports of gunfire at a celebration after the Little 500 college cycling race in the area just before 12:30 a.m., finding multiple wounded individuals. 9 people were taken to local hospitals, including 6 by ambulance, according to WHTR. Authorities have not detailed the extent of the victims' injuries. Witnesses told the outlet that gunfire resulted from an altercation between 2 women at the event. 2 women fighting. I didn't think too much of it, a witness told WHTR. I figured the police would get to it, but then I saw a girl reach toward her pants leg and start firing. By then, I was already running the other way. The Bloomington Police Department has yet to make any arrests in the case. The incident comes just a week after police identified Shamar Elkins as a suspect in the domestic violence rampage that left 8 children dead and 2 women shot in Louisiana last week. Shreveport Police Department Corporal Christopher Burdellen released Elkins' identity while speaking with reporters near the crime scene Sunday evening, calling the mass shooting a heinous crime. That would have been last Sunday evening, apparently. So,
Yeah.
along with the children, Elkins is accused of shooting the mother of his children, who is expected to survive, as well as another woman who is suffering from life threatening injuries. A teenage victim also sustained injuries considered non life threatening. According to investigators, the suspect first shot a woman on Harrison Street before traveling to a residence on West 79th Street where the murders happened. Good job, asshole. You killed all your kids, you stupid mother. And this is why Donald Trump and the Justice Department just initiated the firing squad as a means of execution. So yeah, it was a busy night last night for nut jobs.
Hmm. Was it a full moon?
I don't know. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if it was.
No. This
No.
Friday is the next full moon.
Ooh. Getting an early start. Yeah. That guy at the Correspondents there, he certainly will probably face the death penalty. And speaking of, did you see where the Pope was running his mouth again?
No, I didn't. What did the Pope say now?
Oh, he's condemning the death penalty. After Trump and the Justice Department announced that they're reinstituting the firing squad as one of the means for uh, committing executions, he comes out saying that the Bible's against the death penalty. I guess he
That
never.
has always been a traditional Catholic stance, though. That's nothing new.
Yeah, but it's also wrong. If you look at biblical scripture, the law of Moses had more death penalty offenses than what we have today. You look at the writings of Paul, he flat out says that don't fear the sword of the rulers because they were appointed by God to rule over you. And, and that being in reference to execution. So, I mean, I gotta disagree. That's one of the things I gotta say I disagree with the Catholic Church on. Because you're right, that has been a stance of the Catholic Church, but it's one of the things I disagree with. I don't know what your standing is on that, but
It kind of goes along with their stance on abortion.
yeah, that's why I don't call myself pro-life. By the way, I call myself anti-abortion because I do support the death penalty. I think there are definite places where the death penalty should be applied. I don't want to get you excommunicated, but
I
I don't
mean,
know.
I'm kind of torn on that one because part of me agrees with you, and part of me is like, yeah, but there have been cases where people were condemned to death and then found to be innocent afterwards. So, and it is kind of a non-revocable punishment. So It doesn't make you right or me right. It's just it's not that clear,
Mm-hmm.
that cut and dried a decision. It's there's a lot of things you have to put into it. So
Pack rats
unlike
asking.
abortion, and I have a clear stance on that one, but
Yeah, Pack rats asking if anyone else saw where they captured the leader of the Iranian Republican Guard. Is that the one that they were trying to that certain people were saying is a Mossad agent? I've seen that where they were saying that the one Iranian general or somebody was actually a secret Mossad agent. I don't know if that's the same guy. Anyway, I don't know what else to talk about. What else can we talk about?
I
We,
don't know.
I don't know. We already had our baseball interlude.
If for some reason we always get diverted over into sports, I don't understand
Mm-hmm.
that.
Well, you're the one
Because
that
I
brought it up.
spent most of the afternoon watching baseball. That's why.
I
I
was
thought it's
listening.
going to be a quick 2 hour game, and here I am from 3 o'clock to 8:30 watching a baseball game today.
I was listening to baseball.
I figured I paid the $99 for it. I was going to get in there and start watching, and it's been good this weekend. I mean, we've won all three games, so I can't complain. But I've actually enjoyed watching them this weekend for a change. So. But it's just like any other baseballs, and it's kind of like they were interviewing Eric Hosmer. He's on the Royals broadcast team now, and he said it's too early in the year to be worrying about where you stand in the in the standings right now. He said it's too
Mm-hmm.
early. He said you just need to concentrate on playing your game and going through the game plan and working. And he says things will work themselves out. And he said it's way too early to get in a panic. That's why he didn't understand the Alex Cora firing and stuff like that.
Yeah, that didn't make any sense. Why they fired the entire staff like that right at the beginning
But
of the season? It's just it's odd.
there have been people out on X after the Royals manager Quintero. They've been wanting him axed ever since the season started. So it's it's just common nature in sports. People, you get on a losing streak and everybody wants to get rid of somebody over it. It happens though.
Yeah,
It happens. Now if you get 3/4 of the season and they're 20 games under 500, that's a problem. Right
yeah,
now, it's like I said, other than the Yankees and the Rays, everyone in the American League is separated by 4 games.
mm-hmm.
Everyone. The entire division the Royals are in, it's 4 games from uh, first to fifth. Nobody's out of the race. So
Yeah.
just
I
keep
saw.
playing ball, guys.
Yeah, I saw one guy's post on X about the Boston firing the whole staff. He said they fired the wrong people. They should have fired the players. It's like it's the players. They suck.
Well, somebody said they should have went after the guy who, got all those players on the roster, the general manager, rather than the coaching staff.
Mm-hmm. He's like, you can change the coaches, and they ain't going to do nothing for the players. It's the players that aren't executing. But the players make more money than the coaches, so the coaches get the blame.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And that goes with every sport. I mean, the players don't do what they're supposed to. Who ends up getting fired all the time? It's the coaches.
Have you been following the NFL draft?
Somewhat.
Well, it was right there in Pittsburgh. I mean, you couldn't hardly
Yeah.
miss it. But I guess that Heisman Trophy candidate from Vanderbilt didn't get drafted, and
Yeah,
he's all upset now.
I
He's the
saw
one
one.
who had that tweet after the Heisman ceremony, the fuck Indiana tweet.
Mm,
Yeah, he's pretty much, you know, screwed himself.
mm. Pack Rat's asking if seen the awesome play in the Cubs game the other day. Nope, because I don't pay attention to the Cubs. I'm not gonna lie.
He's a Cubs fan though.
Yeah, I know, but I don't pay attention to the Cubs, so no, honestly, not trying to be a detractor. I just don't pay attention to.
Me either. I pay way too much attention to my home team anymore. I don't know why. This last couple of years, especially this year, I've just become one heck of a baseball fan, even though my team has mostly sucked, but still I pay attention to what's going on and stuff like that. I used to be a huge baseball fan, so
Hmm. Oh, there was
well,
when I
when I
was
was a
younger. I
kid, I knew all the players, you know.
Yep, yep. That's what I was. I could tell you people. I could tell you player stats and everything back in the day. Not anymore.
Oh yeah.
But going back to the NFL draft, I saw the seventh round pick for the Steelers, and then there's some idiot on X throwing a fit because they drafted somebody from the Naval Academy. It's like,
And Fernando Mendoza is going to the Raiders. We all knew that was going to happen, so
the Steelers drafted Navy's running back who had a hell of a game in the Army Navy game. Not gonna lie.
well, that quarterback that I was speaking of from Vanderbilt, from what I understood, the scouts said that the guy was like 5'10" or something,
Mm-hmm.
fairly small by NFL standards,
Oh yeah.
and was primarily a running quarterback, which doesn't fit in with the typical NFL offense.
No,
He's not a
no,
pocket passer.
no. He's gonna
So
be he's gonna be an option guy, and that doesn't work well in the NFL because players are much too fast on
what they
defense for
used to
running the
do
option.
back in the old days is they would draft those quarterbacks, running quarterbacks, and they would make safeties out of them. It happened a
Safety
lot.
safeties are uh, getting to the '90s. They started making wide receivers out of them.
You take somebody that's got knowledge of how offenses work, that's a good person to have back there at safety
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. And if they can run, hey, you probably got hands too.
Yeah, but if you look at the Steelers back in the late '90s and into the 2000s in college, Heinz Ward was a quarterback. Antoine Randall L was a quarterback, and they both played wide receiver for the Steelers. And Randall L would have been about the same guy, same height. Actually, might have been a little shorter than the Vanderbilt guy.
Travis Kelsey was a high school quarterback. A lot of college studs started out as high school quarterbacks. It's not uncommon.
No,
Can't everybody be quarterback on your college team? I'm sorry, you're gonna have to play something else.
yeah, Randall L. I think he played at Indiana. His college, I think that's where he went to college, where he was the quarterback in Indiana, I believe. It's been a couple of decades now, but I think that's where he played.
And by the way, Pack Rat, I'm not giving you grief about being a Cubs fan. Back in the 80s and 90s when WGN was a big thing and you could watch a Cubs game every afternoon and watch Hurry Carry and stuff like that. Yeah, I watched the Cubs every day back then. I was a Cubs fan back in the day, for sure.
Yes, he did. He went to Indiana University. So that was
Uh,
it.
No, Michael Vick. Talk about running quarterbacks. Michael Vick comes to mind, although he could pass too.
Yeah, he had an arm on him, and he was taller than 5'10".
And Doug Flutie, for being a running quarterback, was most famous for a pass he threw in a bowl game. So,
Hmm. Yeah, Randall L was drafted by the Steelers in 2002 in the second round with pick 62 as a quarterback, and they converted him to wide receiver. The person throwing the fit about the Steelers' seventh round pick were also complaining because he gets to offset going to his military commitment, but instead of only being a 5 year like in the contract, they extended it to where it's going to be he has to do 10 years once his NFL career is over.
wow. At least they're letting him do the NFL career. Back in the old
Yeah,
days, that would have never happened. So,
no,
nope, you're
you
going
had
to
to
put
do it.
that off.
Yep, you had to do that first.
Yep.
Staubach had Staubach had to do his well, I think
Yes, he
his was
did.
4. He had to do his 4 years with the Navy first.
Yep. He was
Um,
pretty much an old man by the time he got to
yeah.
play in the NFL.
Alejandro Villanueva, more recently with the Steelers, he had to do his 4 with the Army, and he didn't just do 4 with the Army. He was a damn ranger over in Afghanistan.
Don't forget David Robinson in basketball.
Yeah, that's how he ended. That's how he earned the nickname the Admiral.
Could you imagine somebody that tall on a ship in the Navy?
No, ain't no way in hell. Ain't no way in hell David Robinson was serving on a ship.
Not a submarine, that's for sure.
Not any ship. That this he was 7'1". The ceiling height. He's
Not going to
only
fit in those bunks too
yeah.
well.
No, there ain't no way he would have comfortably been able to serve on a ship unless he was camping on the deck of a carrier. But no, Doug Flutie was definitely not the last running quarterback. Uh, Lamar Jackson's a running quarterback. He's currently playing for the Ravens.
There's typically a lot of adjustments they have to make when coming into the NFL because running
Mm-hmm.
quarterbacks, sure, they can run, but they're, well, let's think of RG3, for example.
Yeah, but
Tried
our
running around and stuff. What happened to him? He was injured
yeah,
pretty soon after he started playing.
that's because his offensive line sucked and his
Well,
receiving core
yeah.
couldn't catch a ball to save their lives. And a lot of that goes to who they have around them too. Going back to Doug Flutie, he was considered small even in his day.
Yeah. He played for a number of years.
Hmm. It's because he was a gamer. He just went out there and gave it his all.
Unfortunately, he got injured at the wrong time and he had the wrong backup. You remember who come off the bench? A kid by the name of Brady.
No, it wasn't Flutie that was the quarterback. That was Drew Bledsoe at that point.
Oh, it's Bledsoe. That's right.
Yeah.
It's Bledsoe.
Yeah, Flutie
You're
was
right.
in Denver. I mean, Buffalo. Flutie was in Buffalo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the first and last time I want to talk about Tom Brady. Not a fan.
You know how I know it was Bledsoe that he replaced? Because Brady got injured in the game against the Steelers in the AFC Championship, and it was Bledsoe that came off the bench and won the game for him.
Accurate says I need to open his package live. This is gonna be good.
That'll be perfect if you get it tomorrow. He said it's supposed to be there tomorrow or Tuesday, because then you could open it up on the show tomorrow night.
It's awfully brave.
If
I'll,
Ron
I'll
Wayne can
think
do it,
about it.
if Ron
I'll
Wayne
think
can
about
do
it.
it, you can do it.
I've never done that before. Let's put it that way. Uh, I'll think about it.
I should say if Misty can do it, you can do it. She's the one that gets the bad packages.
Mm-hmm. Oh well, if I can dish it out, I guess I can take it too. So
Mm-hmm.
I've got to play fair. I'm a little ornery at times. I don't know if people knew that about me, but I've been known to be a little ornery. And people have been known to be a little ornery to me too. So
At some point, I will get
I
that Chevelle in the mail.
I don't
The Chevette. If it was a Chevelle, you wouldn't be getting it.
I don't generally I don't generally get too upset about things like that. Life's too short to get too upset
Hmm.
about little things like, especially when people are just trying to be fun.
Yeah, like when Foss sent me the helmet. There's no point in getting mad. It was a joke.
Well, it's no worse than Barbecue and I sending him Oklahoma City Thunder stuff we
Hmm.
gifted to him at Thunder on the Prairie. And I gifted him that blanket. That's from Ms. Packrat. Oh boy. And I don't know her sense of humor. This could be good. If they want me to open it live, there's got to be something. There's got to be a fun element in this somewhere, or something to embarrass me or make me. Could be fun.
Hmm.
Could be fun. I'd worry if it was coming from Misty. Oh, I saw something, and I sent a picture of it to Ron Wayne yesterday. Maybe could I share it on your screen? Can I do that?
Yeah,
Do
you
I
could do
have the
that.
ability? I think I have a picture of it. Something I saw at Walmart. Okay, so let me see if I can. How do I share something? Oh, start screen share. Here we go. Continue with screen sharing. Yep, it's going to work. Okay, there you go. I saw that at Walmart yesterday. Almost bought it. It's even the right color.
Uh huh.
I sent a picture of Jerron. I said, I should I buy it? And he said, absolutely. I thought about asking him, should I mail it to Misty, but I didn't. Is it showing on the YouTube screen? I don't think I see it.
Yeah,
Am I caught up? Oh, hold on. I wasn't
yeah,
caught up over there. Okay.
yeah. It's sharing.
I was lagging. Okay, cool. But yeah, I thought you might appreciate that. So
That looks even more like my old hockey jersey than your 6'7" on the channel.
I might have to go back and get it this next weekend. They had a whole bunch of them, so I'm sure they won't run out. Ron Two Matter says yes.
Yeah, before I started playing for the baby Pens, then when I was just playing regular junior hockey, my jersey was blue with 6'7" like that because my number was 67. But then once I got up, when the baby Pens selected me to play for their junior team, then I was wearing, basically Pittsburgh Penguins replica jersey, kind of basically the same jersey that the NHL team wore. Except our
Yes,
logo
because
was a little different.
Pittsburgh has no imagination. All their teams wear the same colors.
Well, it's the city's colors, that's why. But no, the Pittsburgh Maulers, they didn't wear. I think are they still around when they re-brought them back, the USFL back and merged it to the other
That's
league?
not a real sport.
USFL? That's football.
Yes,
That's American football.
yes, I understand that, but
But their colors, with the original USFL, their colors weren't black and gold. Theirs were red and white, I think, something like that. Red, white,
USFL
like a
lasted how
steel
long?
gray.
2 seasons, I think, maybe.
Hmm.
Kind of like the WFL back in the day. You remember the WFL, the World Football League?
Oh yeah, it became the NFL Europe.
And
The XFL.
the North American Soccer League back in the day in
Was
70s.
that the indoor league?
No, this is the original outdoor league.
Because there was an indoor soccer league around that time too. The
Oh yeah,
Pittsburgh, there was the Pittsburgh Spirit, where that team, and their colors weren't black and gold either. They were gray and black was their team color.
we had the Kansas City Comets. I don't remember what their colors were, but they outdrew the Kings for a season or two because the Kings pretty much sucked the last year or two they were in Kansas City. They were getting outdrawn by the soccer team. They kind of resented that.
Pittsburgh had a professional lacrosse team at one point too. I think their colors were black and gold though. Damn if I can remember what the hell the name of the team was.
I have never watched a game of lacrosse.
It's kind of like hockey, but a little bit different. It's got the same basic idea. Instead of
It's your guys running around with sticks trying to whack each other's heads off, basically.
mm-hmm. Well, Hackrat says, "Did you know Shane and Linda McMahon were at the White House of Correspondents there?" Not the least bit surprised, since Linda McMahon is a member of the cabinet. In the original Trump administration, she was small business director or something like that.
And say
And
just about anybody who's in media would have been there. So
yeah,
on
I
both
think
sides of
she,
the political spectrum. So
I think she's a Secretary of Education now or something along those lines. But she was the head of the Small Business Administration in the first Trump
she
administration.
is the Secretary of Education. Yes.
So Shane being there with her as her date or something wouldn't surprise me in the least. her plus one. Who knows? Shane may have had his wife there too. I, I don't know how many guests they get to take with them. She could have had Triple H and Stephanie there too, for all I know.
There's a bunch of wrestlers out of work now. Did you
Yeah,
see
they
that?
let. Yeah, 22 cut. Some of them were shocked that were cut. Like Kyrie Sane, I'm surprised they cut her. She's been a big part of the women's division lately. Man, that was a real shock to see her name on that list. Probably the biggest shock of all of them. It wasn't that long ago that she was one half of the women's tag team champions. Packer saying he didn't know if we saw his post earlier, but Wolf Blitzer from CNN was in the lobby when the shooting happened and got shoved into a bathroom by Secret Service.
I didn't know he was still alive. Is he still working?
Yeah, he still works for CNN.
Wow.
He's been there forever.
He's like 100.
Yeah, he's been there since the network started. He was one of their first correspondents back in the day.
Wow, that's his real name. He's 78 years old. Wow. Wolf Isaac Blitzer, born in Augsburg, Germany.
Wow. So he's German.
Um, his parents were Polish Jewish refugees from German occupied Poland who survived the Nazi concentration camps. His
Wow.
grandparents, two uncles, and two aunts on his father's side were all murdered in Auschwitz.
Wow.
Hmm.
No wonder him and Christiane Amanpour don't get along very well. He's pro Israel and she's not.
His family immigrated to the U.S. shortly after he was born, the same year, under the Displaced Persons Act
Mm,
in the Allied occupation of Germany. So he wouldn't have remembered living in Germany. So
no. Probably for the better in his case.
uh, Blitzer said he's been frequently asked about his name, which has been characterized as seemingly made for TV. He explained that his surname goes back for generations and that Wolf is the same first name as that of his maternal grandfather.
Yeah.
Okay. I've always figured it is a stage name. It is not.
Oh,
Everything you ever wanted to know about Wolf Blitzer, but were afraid to ask.
yeah. One time that was a popular name over in that area. around the German Polish border area. My grandfather had an uncle or great uncle named Wolf.
There was the day, back when CNN was pretty much it for cable news before Fox News came along. A lot of us watched CNN. I mean, let's be real,
Mm-hmm.
that's where I got most of my 9/11 coverage. Everybody did back in the day. But I never minded Wolf Blitzer too much. I didn't think
No.
he was the best, but definitely better than Greta Van Susteren. Let's put it that way.
Mm. Well, hell,
She's kind of weird.
back during Desert Shield, Desert Storm, CNN was the only game in town. They were it. If you unless you wanted to wait for the evening news, if you wanted the news about what was happening over in the Middle East during that area, you had to watch CNN. There was no Fox News. There was no MSNBC or any of these other
Right.
new 24-hour sources. You were watching Bernard Shaw on CNN. I forget what the name of the woman that was his co-anchor on CNN was.
Oh, I can't remember. I watched a lot of CNN back in the day, though. They used to have a killer sports show on in the evenings, CNN
Mm-hmm.
Sports Tonight.
Mm-hmm.
It was super popular.
You got better sports coverage back in the day on CNN than you did on ESPN. Because
Yeah.
back then ESPN was all the off the wall sports. Like full contact karate competitions and Australian rules football and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Maybe some foreign auto race thrown in for shits and giggles. I think the AWA had their wrestling shows on ESPN around that time period too. Packer said he used to have the entire Desert Storm coverage on VCR tape. We used to watch it in junior ROTC when I was in high school. Watch it in junior ROTC class, and we'd watch it in civics class.
I can still remember. This was in the early 80s. Well, was it early 80s? Back when the OJ trial coverage was going on. I watched that, a lot of that stuff.
Mm. When I was when the war was going on in civics in high school, we had all the civic classes. You had a project you had to do, and everybody's project was on the Gulf War. Everybody did something Gulf War related.
See, my department back then out at work, we had one of our coworkers was in the Army Reserve and his unit was called to serve. So we actually had a friend that was overseas and would write us letters and
Mm,
stuff like that. So we kind of had, you know, kind of a glimpse as to what it was really like over there and stuff like that.
yeah, our one sergeant got recalled to duty, but then he went, and then they sent him back.
I still have, when he came back, he kept a bunch. They had these little Tabasco. Tabasco gave these little bottles of Tabasco sauce out with the MREs because the
Mm.
MREs were
Oh
horrible,
yeah.
and these guys would put Tabasco sauce in them to make them edible.
Well,
And
not just
so
that. Some of them actually were good, but they were better when you put the Tabasco on. Like if you got the chili mac and you put that chili mac was good. Chili mac was the one everybody wanted. Yeah, it was good without the Tabasco, but you put the Tabasco on there for that little bit of kick of heat, and it just made it a little bit better.
anyway, he kept a bunch of those bottles and he filled them up with sand and
Hmm.
he brought them home and gave us all one. So somewhere around this house, I have a bottle of sand from Iraq.
I have somewhere around here a set of Marine BDUs that were worn in Iraq by my best friend in high school's cousin. He came back and he gave each of us a set of his BDUs that he wore over in Iraq.
Okay, yeah, the OJ trial was 94 and 95.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
I was.
remember I was home sick from work one day and I was watching the final day of the trial when they had the verdict.
Hmm.
And I remember calling into work and telling everybody, I said, OJ's innocent. Nobody could believe it.
Yeah, I was working at Greyhound when that was going on, and everybody at work was talking about it. Pack Rat says MREs are better than C rations.
No, Dad had C rations. He told us he had one that he brought home, and Mom had it for the longest time. I don't know what happened to it.
I never had any, so I don't know. My uncle had a bunch for emergency stuff, but never actually ate any of
Had
them.
this package of crackers that looked horrible. There's like four cigarettes or five in there,
Hmm.
and there's a package of Wrigley's gum. Remember, it was in a cardboard box and it had wax sealed it.
Yeah, yep. That's the way C rations were. Where MREs were vacuum sealed in a
You guys
plastic packet.
were probably eating leftover World War II sea ration.
Not in the MREs. MREs were different.
Mm.
MREs, everything was in little pouches. They weren't in like C ration stuff was in
Yeah,
cans.
I've seen MREs. I've never actually eaten one because I don't have any great Jones to eat nasty food. People say
Honestly,
eat this, it's horrible. It's like, nah, I'll
no.
pass.
Honestly, most MREs aren't bad. It's you get the tuna one or the cheesy veggie omelet. Those are the ones you want to avoid, like the plague. But most of the other ones aren't terrible. You heat them up in your little cup and whatnot. And they're not bad. I've eaten plenty of MREs. They're not as bad as what people make them out to be.
Dad said they used to take the sea rations sometimes and they'd fire up the engine on a tank and put them on the exhaust manifold so they'd get
Mm.
hot. That was the only way you could heat stuff up back then.
They were given Zippos. Heat it up on the zip over your Zippo. Packer said the C rations had canned chocolate bars. He called them John Wayne bars. That's what was nice about the MREs. We got things like Snickers and M&Ms and Hershey bars in them.
And I guess on the tanks, they didn't really have like sleeping bags in them to sleep in, but they
No.
basically these bags you get in. He said we called them fart sacks.
Mm,
He said that's really all you had to sleep in. You could zip them up around yourself.
yeah, that and a
Said they
blanket.
weren't comfortable. Yeah.
Yeah. The one channel I watched, Chieftain, he's a uh, lieutenant colonel in the army. He's in cavalry, but he used to be a tanker. And he's like, we used to sleep on the deck of the tank when it was nice and warm. Use the tank, engine deck to keep you warm on the Abrams. And before that, when he was before he moved to the U.S., he's dual citizen, Ireland and the United States, and he served in both the Irish and the U.S. military. He was enlisted in Ireland, but as an officer in the U.S. Army. But when he was over in the Irish Army, he served on a chieftain and they did the same thing. They would sleep on the deck after shutting it down. They would sleep on the deck because it would still be warm from the engine heat, and that would keep you warm. Yeah, Packer said the one chicken one. Yeah, the one chicken MRE is not very good either. But the chili mac's good. I didn't mind the beans and weenie one, and then there were a couple others that were pretty good. They were supposed to come out with one that was supposed to be like pizza, but I've never had that one. I don't know how that one would work. I don't know if it's like Lunchable where you build your own pizza out of it, but that might be how.
Probably.
And the dehydrated fruit that you used to get in those things were pretty good too. That was almost like a candy bar. You could either put them in your cup and rehydrate them with water, or just eat them you know like they were like a granola bar almost in crunchiness, but it was fruit, and they would rehydrate just from your saliva. They're pretty good. They had a good flavor to them. Basically, it was like dehydrated canned fruit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they vacuum formed it into a bar. You had peaches and pears, if I remember right, were the two varieties of that they had in those. People kept saying they needed to get a fruit cocktail, so you'd have a mix fruit. It was either you got peaches or you got pears. All the MREs I ate were in junior ROTC. Never actually ate an MRE while I was actually in service. Only in high school. Packrat says the two are C rations were the beef with spice sauce and the ham and eggs. Yeah, eggs and that kind of meal just don't seem to go good together because it's always powdered eggs and they're just nasty. It's not real eggs. Packer said the beef looked like Alpo. Probably was. Good old mystery meat. Hell, it could have been horse. Wouldn't surprise me. Horse with some beef bouillon.
At least if it was Alpo, it'd be fairly decent grade dog food. It's not Sam's Choice or something like that.
It
Or it
still would
could
have
be
been,
rat coming from China or something like that, you know.
but Alpo would have still been horse with beef bouillon, which would have made it a delicacy in Mongolia.
Let's say people, wince about eating something like a horse, but
Hmm.
you know,
Oh
I've
yeah,
never personally had it. Plenty of people have. People eat deer, and I've eaten wild pigs. I've eaten
yeah,
wild goats and stuff like that. I've eaten some strange things in my life. So.
yeah. The only reason why I brought up horse is because Alpo, a lot of that was horse meat in the canned dog foods.
Better than
They
kangaroo, I suppose.
Kangaroo's supposed to be pretty good. I haven't had it, but I've heard people talk about it that have. They said it tastes similar to deer meat. He said the spaghetti was Chef Boyardee. Yeah, it probably was with the
Probably
label reading.
because that's the most shelf stable
Hmm.
kind of way to cook spaghetti. So, yeah, I wouldn't expect
Chef
much else.
Boyardee or Franco American, the SpaghettiOs people.
Dad, even when he was older, he'd eat cold spaghetti. He'd eat one of his favorite things to do was to get a can of Van Camp's pork and beans out of the cabinet, open it up, and he'd take a spoon and eat it right out of the can.
Oh yeah, I've done that.
Didn't have any problem with eating processed food that was cold, back he
No,
said back in the day, he said you didn't worry about
yeah,
it. He said when he was in the army, if you had food, you ate it. Yeah.
yeah. If you have to eat C rations or MREs, eating stuff like that, that's not going to bother you in the least.
I've done it with ravioli before,
Hmm. Get a hot dog out of the
especially.
refrigerator, put it on a bun, and just put some mustard on it and eat it that way without even heating up the hot dog.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people don't realize hot dogs are already cooked. You're just reheating it.
Oh yeah. They are. It's about like eating lunch meat.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, I can't have them anymore. Any of the processed meat like that, which
Yeah,
sucks, but I know it's not good for you and stuff like that. But yeah, I miss that stuff. I
yeah.
really do.
Just to clarify, I wasn't laughing at you. I was laughing at what Moose said.
Oh yeah.
He said, "My general rule is that anything dumber than me is on the menu. The embarrassing thing is he can't eat anything above a moth."
Wow. It's too bad you can't eat elephant because there'd be a lot of meat on an elephant or a whale or something like that.
Hmm.
Which you can't kill whales anymore because they're endangered. Because we killed too many of them. It's kind of like what we did to the buffaloes.
Yeah, but they brought the buffalo back by farming them. Dennis Miller made a joke if they want to save the elephants and lions and just do like they did with the buffaloes, start farming them for food.
Well, they don't call it buffalo. They call it bison.
Hmm.
I've had it.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
not
so
my
have I.
favorite.
It's
Not
really
as
good
good
as
as
jerky.
beef.
Have you had bison
Yeah, I
jerky?
have.
It's good as jerky. It's good for burgers. It's good in a burger.
Coleslaw. Coleslaw. That don't even fit in the discussion. There's no meat in coleslaw.
I've
It's
seen people put bacon bits in it
pretty much cabbage and mayonnaise.
or vinegar.
Well, yeah.
There's multiple different types. It's like German
Yeah,
potato.
some people
It's like
make a
potato
sweet
salad.
coleslaw. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't like a real sweet coleslaw myself.
No, the only coleslaw I'll eat is Permane Brothers. It's the only coleslaw I've ever liked.
I've made my own before because I do like cabbage.
I'm not
I'll
that big
even
on
eat
cabbage.
I'll even eat cooked cabbage. I don't mind. Some
Yeah,
people think it's gross. I don't mind it.
I'm not a fan of cabbage. The only way I'll eat cabbage is either Permane Brothers coleslaw or sauerkraut. That's it. I don't like it any other way.
I used to love corned beef and cabbage back in the day for
Corned beef and
St.
sauerkraut.
Patrick's Day.
I like corned beef and
Well, it's
sauerkraut.
basically the same thing, pickled cabbage.
Yeah, it's got a different flavor.
Yeah.
And then whatever's left over, you can make Reubens out of. Packrat says his favorite game animal is elk. Yeah, elk is really good. Moose is good too if you got somebody who knows how to cook it. Moose is kind of like bear. If you don't know how to cook it, it'll be nasty as hell. But if you got somebody who knows how to cook it, it's really good. Moose says coleslaw is left over from some corned beef sandwiches. He says coleslaw is staple for a pastrami, Sammy. I'll put uh, sauerkraut on with pastrami too. Pastrami is basically Italian corned beef. It's basically what it is. It's their corned beef and pastrami are both pickled beef brisket, just pickled with different seasonings. If you've never been to Permane Brothers, it's whatever your meat is, topped with French fries, tomato, and their house coleslaw on thick cut Italian bread.
Sounds good. Like I said, I can't have it, but it sounds good.
So it is. It's really good. Fresh cut French fries, I should add, with skin on still.
So one of these people who was on TikTok is a teacher who made some video about how she wished she'd woke up and found out that Trump was assassinated.
Yeah, you get those all the time.
They've identified her as Corinne Baum.
Hmm.
somebody somebody looked her up and found her. She's a
Oh,
teacher at the children's house in Cincinnati. They've
yeah.
posted the number to call the school. So
All you got to
she'll
do is put that TikTok video on X and somebody will find out who the hell it is. It never fails. Yeah, Moose says way more black pepper and bark with pastrami. Yeah, well, like I said, they're two different seasonings, but they're both basically pork, uh, pickled pork. I mean, beef brisket. Ugh, I can't talk. One's from Italy and one's from more northernerly Europe. Some people say the British Isles. Some people say it was taken to the British Isles by the Norse when they invaded. Some people say it was. Nobody knows how it got to the British Isles for sure. But the fact that it's also popular with Germanic tribes tends to give it credence that it came from Northern Europe and spread over to the British Isles and into Ireland. The weird one is the fish that they put in lye and then bury it in the ground and let that pickle it. I don't know if I'd want to eat that. Moose says food chat, food chat. Who the hell turned this into a food chat? I don't even remember. Is
Well,
it?
it was a sports chat for a while. Now it's a food chat. So.
Yeah. Who's responsible for it becoming a food chat, though? I don't know.
Not me. It's your show.
No,
You're
no,
ultimately responsible
no.
for all of it.
I think it was somebody in the chat though. Started talking about food.
Oh, we can blame Pack Rat.
Yeah, it probably was him because he was talking about sea rations and
Yeah.
MREs and stuff. Lutefisk, yeah, that. I don't know if I'd want to eat that. Fish that's been left in the ground and with lye all around it. That doesn't seem like a
Yeah, I'll
something.
pass.
Yeah, yeah, it doesn't sound very appetizing. Yeah, he killed another pellet smoker. Moo, you're not meant to have a smoker, man. Moo and smokers don't mix. Moo's asking, what's that fermented shark from Greenland? I have no idea. Probably not able to be sold anymore. Is probably what it is. There's all these damn laws against using shark anymore.
I don't know. Weren't we going to buy Greenland or take it over?
Yeah, but then Iran happened, and everything about Greenland kind of got put on the back burner. Last I heard, we were close to a deal with Denmark, so I don't know what's going on. Hell, whether they like it or not, we already provide their military protection. That's what was so funny about all those European countries. So we're going to send one soldier. We have people that are stationed there. He says, no, he didn't set this one on fire. He had this computer board and temp probe issue. Been having to use his old school charcoal and Weber. Our smoker is a combination grill and smoker. You can use either in the main part, you can put charcoal in it, and then it has a smoke box on the side where you put the wood chips in and use those. I forget what brand it is. Make some really good burgers with that. Put a couple of wood chips in the smoke box along with the charcoal in the top and cook them that way. Gives them good flavor. Falcon Rumble says one thing he gets a kick out of with Greenland is that how would they know if we were there? It's that small population. Yeah, there's not a whole lot of people there. There's what 20,000 people or something like that. It's not that many. and they're on
It's about
the
like
East
most of
Coast.
Canada, except the part of Canada that's right up against the United States. That's the only place there's any people in Canada.
Edmonton's pretty far north, but Edmonton's also got the oil fields, so that's why. But for the most part, yeah, you're right. Winnipeg's pretty far up there too. It's not in Calgary. Winnipeg and Calgary aren't too close to the U.S. border, but they're like the three main places: Winnipeg, Calgary, and Alberta that aren't along the U.S. coast or U.S. border. Montreal's not right on the border, but it's close enough to where we took it over during both the War of 1812 and the American Revolution, or tried to take it over in the War of 1812. I
Tried
should say.
to.
Yeah. But we did have it in the American Revolution, but no, we were stupid and gave it back. That in Toronto, we had Toronto and Montreal.
We tried to take Quebec City. That didn't work out so well.
Mm. And it was stupid not to hold on to Toronto and Montreal because that's what allowed the British to have a foothold to do what they did during the War of 1812 anyway. Fucking Rumble says Greenland is smaller than Fenway Park. In population, yes.
I don't know. Of late, I don't think they've been drawing big crowds at Fenway. But
Ooh, probably true.
I swear at the Royals game tonight, after that hour and a half rain delay, I don't think there were probably 1,000 people left in the stands when the game was over. Most of them gave up and left. I wouldn't want to sit out there in the rain either, but they should have gave them all some free merch or something just for
Mm,
gutting it out.
the Pirates game back in the day, they used to have a T-shirt they gave you. I survived the rain delay or something like that. It said on it. I used to have one. Yeah, don't worry about it, Vulcan Rumble. He's lying anyway. You have to read Moo's comment and then Vulcan
I
Rumble.
saw it.
I'm not repeating Moo's comment because it's a. I will say it's a lie. Pirates head home now, and I think they got to play the Cardinals.
We've got to go to Sacramento and play the Athletics for a 3-game series
Oh, you should win
starting
that one.
Tuesday. I don't know. They're in first place right now.
Oh, are they? Wow.
Yeah, they're actually playing some ball.
Ooh, yeah, they are. But they're one game up on the Rangers. The Rangers who just lost a series to the Pirates before the Brewers did. Everybody maintained positioning, it looks like, in the NL Central. Still the only division where every team's above 500. The Red Sox are already 7 games back. Wow. Holy shit, the Phillies are 10.5, and Mets are both 10.5 back. It hasn't even been a whole month yet, and you're already 10.5 games back. Gee. I'm talking about teams that should be firing their coaching staff. Both the Mets and Phillies are 9-19.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, the Pirates play the Cardinals at 6:40 tomorrow night. Should be over by the time your show starts. Unless it goes to extra innings. You don't play till Tuesday.
Mm-mm. We get a travel day tomorrow.
You'd think the
Well,
Pirates would, because they had played. They were in Milwaukee today.
the Royals game was supposed to have been 7:10 this evening, but they moved it up to 3:10 because of the threat of the severe weather. They
Yeah,
wanted to make sure they could get the game in.
that's what happened with the Pirate game last weekend. It was supposed to be later in the day, but they moved it up to like 2 o'clock, I think. Fucking Rumble says they made the announcement that they are firing their Red Sox coaching staff today. No, they made it last night.
Yeah,
That happened yesterday. There was a picture on social media with the coaching staff standing in front of the van that took them to the airport. Said coaches for hire or something on the van.
I saw a picture of them at the airport getting ready to get on the plane, and
Yeah, they had a private jet.
Jason Varitek's giving them a thumbs down right as they get ready. Get on the plane. At least they were nice enough to fly him home.
Yeah, private jet, no less. I mean, the Braves are 20-9. Got the best record in baseball right now. Dodgers are half a game back at 19-9. Crazy year in baseball so far. It's not even a month in.
Yep.
The Braves are also the only team in their division with a winning record. Everybody else is below 500. Marlins are 6.5 back. Nationals are 7 back. And as was already stated, the Mets and Braves are both 10.5 back in that division. Hell, the AL West doesn't watch itself, so every team's going to be below 500. Same with the Central. Good Lord. Yep. The NL East has the team with the best record and the two teams with the worst record.
But yeah, it's too early to
Yeah.
get too excited about things. What are
Yeah.
we? We're 28 games into a 162 game season. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you're already 10.5 games back. That's pretty bad.
we're not. We're only 3.5 games
Oh
out of
no,
first
I
place.
know you're not. I'm saying the Mets and Phillies are. They're both 10.5 games back already. That's pretty bad. That's quite the hole to have to dig out of. It says we got 6 people watching on X. Uh, Oops, I didn't want to do that. Meant to do that. Do you see there's calls for Democrat Representative Ted Lieu to resign from Congress because the in the manifesto, the Correspondents dinner shooter quoted him directly.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty bad. Pretty bad. He would just be the latest the Democrats to have to do so. There's been a lot of that lately. Not the Reds, Packer, at the Red Sox. I don't think the Cincinnati Reds are firing their staff anytime soon. They lead the division. They're 18-10. 1 game up on the Cubs, 2 games up on the Pirates. So yeah, I don't think the Reds are firing their staff. I still can't believe that they fired their whole staff. Usually, it would seem like maybe the manager go or one of the positional coaches, but the whole damn coaching staff at one time. I guess if you're going to do that, do it at the beginning of the season. All right, Ron. Well, if you look at the Braves, the Mets, and Phillies, their records are almost reversed. The Braves have played one more game, so it's not exactly. But the Braves are at 20-9, and both the Mets and Phillies are at 9-19. Now, the Dodgers are exactly the opposite of the Mets and Phillies. They're at 19-9. Padres are doing pretty good this year. They're at 18-9. This could be an interesting season.
Yep.
Yep. The NHL had a crazy season this year, too. Literally had playoff spots that weren't decided till the last game of the season all over the place. Either teams hadn't clinched until the last game, and I'm talking their division, or they were still vying for position in the playoffs. It's just a crazy year for sports all the way around. You had teams with over 90 points that didn't make the playoffs. Usually, you hit 90 points or more, you're getting into the postseason, but not this season. The Red Wings, the Capitals, the Blue Jackets, and the Islanders all had over 90 points and did not make the playoffs in the NHL because you had 5 teams in the East that hit 100 or more points. That's crazy. Well, we're after midnight, so I'm going to start wrapping this up. You got anything you want to plug before we get out of here?
Oh, I'm having a live stream tomorrow night, Foul Territory, 9 o'clock p.m. on the Gizzard Gary channel. If anybody wants to come by and check that out, I certainly would appreciate it. And thanks for having me, as always.
Yep. Thanks for jumping on. And thanks to everybody out there who was watching, whether on Rumble, X, or YouTube. And we'll see you hopefully tomorrow night for Gizzard Gary's show that he just brought up. So until then, we will see you next week, yeah, at the very latest. And I got to find where That is. I forgot to put up the call-in thing. Oh well.
Oh no.
Oh no. Waiting for my things to load. There it is. Okay. So we will catch y'all later. Have a good night.
Give him the bird.